Secretary Johnson, I think all of us can agree that we are facing a humanitarian crisis of the first magnitude. More money may well be needed to deal with the consequences of this crisis, but it does not address the causes of the problem, and that's what's troubling to me. It's contrary to the evidence to think that some 57,000 children would undertake an extremely dangerous journey to reach our borders if their parents did not think that they would be allowed to stay here once they arrived. The administration has pointed to changes made in our immigration laws in 2008 as a partial explanation for the surge in the number of unaccompanied children. And I think many of us would agree that that law does indeed need to be revised, but it doesn't explain the surge. If you will look at the chart that I've distributed, the surge in unaccompanied children did not begin following the passage of the 2008 law. In fact, the numbers actually declined between fiscal year 2010 and fiscal year 2011. The wave of children arriving here clearly began in 2012. So we need to look at what happened that year. Well, on June 15th of 2012, President Obama took unilateral action and announced his Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals policy. Now, let me make clear that I think the president's action was motivated by compassion, but it seems clear to me that it sent the wrong message to those parents in Central America. And it demonstrates what happens when the president unilaterally decides to issue an executive order affecting immigration without securing the border. The number of children more than doubled between fiscal year 2011 and fiscal year 2013. Yet until just recently, the president did not even speak out to warn their parents and to tell them that the journey would be horrendously dangerous for their children and that they would be sent home. We know that many of these children have been abused or harmed on their way here. And when the wave became evident 2 years ago, the president took no action at that time to try to stem the tide. We know that it will take a long time before all of these children have hearings that could lead to their being sent home if they show up at all for the adjudications. So my question is, what specifically is the administration doing to propose changes in the laws or regulations right now so that these children can be safely and immediately put on planes and returned to their parents? And wouldn't such an action send the strongest possible message to the people of Central America that they should not allow their children to go with these smugglers and come here?
Senator, first of all, I know this from personal conversations with these kids. I've spoken to dozens of these kids. And I know from talking to Border Patrol officers who've spoken to these kids, the first thing they say when you ask them, why did you come here? It has to do with the conditions in the 3 Central American countries. My mother told me that the gang was going to kill me, or my brother was killed. It's always initially that. Second, clearly, they know that if they come to the United States, our laws require certain things, that we transfer them to the Department of Health and Human Services. But it's also the case that the criminal smuggling organizations are creating considerable misinformation about the state of our laws and so forth. They're telling, in order to induce the family member to pay $3,000, $5,000, or whatever it is, they tell them things like, you'll get a free pass, and it will expire at the end of June or the end of May. The fact is, and I've been saying this publicly now for weeks, and it's being repeated in Central America in the Spanish press, that the Deferred Action Program that was established 2 years ago is for children who've been in this country for 7 years, since June 2007. So it is simply wrong to say that if you come here today, tomorrow, or yesterday, you're going to benefit from DACA. And so we continue to say that. We continue to repeat that. And they're saying that and repeating it in the Central American countries. I said that yesterday in a press conference, I believe. But, you know, we're dealing with criminal smuggling organizations. In order to induce payments of money, will put out considerable disinformation about this. Now, you've asked about changes in law. I believe, and I agree, that people in Central America need to see illegal migrants coming back. The children accompanied by their parents, and the unaccompanied adults. And we're doing that. We're already dramatically reducing the time it takes for that to happen. And so we're asking for the additional resources to my department, to the Department of Justice, to turn these people around quicker, including the children. So we're asking for that. And in terms of the change in law, as I said a moment ago, we're asking, and this will be in a separate submission, for the ability to treat unaccompanied kids from the Central American countries in the same way we would someone from a contiguous country, so that we have the ability to offer them voluntary return, which the kids from Mexico do accept.